작업 스튜디오 라이브 ASL에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Season 13, it's day 3, Group C. It's Rain's group. Let's get into interviews with our players.
Okay, it looks like here is the caster. We'll be talking about ASL Season 13 Group Round of 24 Group C.
24강도 오늘 경기를 끝으로 반환점을 돌게 됩니다. 현재까지는 1, 2티어 선수들의 강세가
So we have seen day 1 and day 2 of Group A and Group B. We have seen those the higher tier players performing really well and made it into round of 16. But we are excited to see some new faces on today's game. There will be Rain. How are you doing, Rain? A lot of fans are shocked at how well you were playing, even though you took a break about 1 or 2 years. And how do you feel about today's game? Do you think you can play well tonight? So Rain is saying he's excited to play his match today. He hasn't played on an offline stage for more than 2 years. And we would also like to talk with Bishop as well. It's his first time making it into ASL round of 24. How do you feel? And how are you doing? So we have seen you play on an ASTL or ACS, but you never played on an ASL stage. How do you feel? And you were actually playing really well on an ASL qualifier as well. And Bishop is answering about his feeling. So he's saying he got lots of feedback by Mini and the other players as well, how he should be setting up his mindset when he's playing the ASL stage or even ASL qualifier. So he's kind of saying thanks to Mini that it kind of helped him well on an ASL qualifier that he was able to make it into round of 24. So Bishop is saying was saying something about he's kind of lacking with his experience compared to the other pro players. But throughout those years that he has been played on the ASL qualifier and in this 2022, he feels like he's started to get better and better. And we're going to be moving into action as well. How do you feel about today's game? And Action is saying he kind of has some tough group, or he also wanted to try out some of the other strategy as well in the previous tournament, previous ASL season. And that probably could be the reason why he got eliminated in round of 24 easily. So he wants to play in a different playstyle today's game. We also like to say hi to some coming back player that is going to be Horang2. He changed his name to Bingsu. We haven't seen you for a while. How do you feel? And Bingsu is saying when he looked at his round of 24 group, and he's saying something about Action saying about this round of 24 group that seems easy for him to make it into round of 16. So Bingsu Horang2 is saying he's kind of upset. He's kind of upset when Action said this group is going to be easy for him to make it into round of 16. So I think there must be some story between Horang2 and Action. So Bingsu doesn't want Action to make it into round of 16. So we will be moving to Ask ASL question event. Ask question to Rain. What made you to come back to ASL? He mentioned about someone's name. I wasn't able to catch it. Someone motivated him to come back to play ASL, so he decided to play once again. and things are just working out well with his mechanics. Mechanical wise, he's still okay. He's playing okay, and he started to have some confidence while he's doing some practice games. Oh, so he's saying something about his talent. Some players have lots of talent. Some players do not have lots of talent. Some players like Rush, he's the one of the Taran player who puts lots of effort to become one of the top Taran player. But Rain is saying that he got lots of talent, so he might be able to get into the final stage if he keeps up those talents all the time. One other Ashen. One other question to Bishop. What does it mean? What does Bishop mean? So probably there must be the meaning behind of his name. He said he will be doing something about today's game. That he will prove that what Bishop is, but I'm not sure what that is about. But as I get another question to Action. What did you prepare for this season compared to your last season? So he asked some. So Action thinks he's overly confident with his knowledge, with his game knowledge. So he decided to ask some other Zerg players and get some knowledge, take some notes, and he wants to play better of today's game. Okay, one other question to Horang2, Bingsu. Talking about the trademark. Whenever Horang2 is playing, we can always see he has a very nice SimCity looking, pretty, well organized. And do you always have to play like that? So Bingsu, Horang2 is answering to the question. You kind of have to do that SimCity, organizing his building all the time in order to play with his rhythm, with his game rhythm. And also for his daily routine as well. He's kind of living in a same pattern all the time, not playing an unexpected daily routine. And any last word before we go into the game? Bingsu said since he hasn't played on an ASL stage for a long time, but he still would like to play really well. So Action is also saying the same thing. He's also running his own school, academic school on Africa platform. There's lots of students and colleagues. They're rooting for him. He wants to show them he will be in round of 16. And Bishop is also in school, Pi's school. He's also having lots of students and other coaches rooting for him. He wants to perform as much as he can. And Rain also said something very short. He will try his best to make it into round of 16. Thank you for the interview. And Ask ASL event is over. People who got selected with their comment, they will get the ASL mini humidifier. And players will be going back to their seat.
Yep, thank you, Scan, for those interviews. I'm sure everybody here wants to see how good Rain is these days. If you've watched him play any of the show matches, he's on point already. It's crazy how good he is this quickly. And of course, Action, I think, is the second favorite for this group. I gotta be honest, I'm hoping that Action puts on a good performance. And the reason for that is, if you remember last season, it just went so wrong that game versus Leda. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, the Proxy factory, but it was a 8 barracks, 8 gas, something like that, and it went for the Proxy factory into something like a 1 base starport. But Action, I don't remember exactly, but Action was definitely behind in that game. Like, he was playing something very weird.
Yeah, he was playing weird, but Leda was playing even weirder. There was this point in the game where it looked like action stabilized, and then there was this Muta switch, and it did absolutely nothing, and he just got steamrolled afterwards. So I'm hoping this time around we can see a better performance from Action, because really I think Action is somebody that on a good day can go really deep in the tournament. So hoping he does well. And then of course we've got Bishop, who we haven't seen in a long time, and also Horang2, also curious what his current state is. Again, we're getting a look at the groups. Group C today. We've got 3 Protoss and 1 Taran qualified already, but don't fret, Zerg players, because we've got the superstar Zergs coming in the future groups. We've got Soma in Group E, and then we've got Solkey in Group F, so I'm sure they'll be moving on. But actually, the more I'm looking at this, if Action doesn't make it out, I mean, those are tough groups in Group E and Group F that, it's there is potential that we may have no Zergs make it out of the round of 24.
Well, even though the map doesn't help Zerg to make it into round of 16 of this ASL Season 13 map, but I have a feeling that whenever you're playing on a best of 1 series, map doesn't really matter for Zerg. Like, they can just literally do whatever they want. They can go for macro playstyle. They can go for all-in cheese like forward pull, or maybe some type of like a Lurker bust, or maybe Mutalist all-in. Like, they just can do anything in best of 1 series. And so as Taran or Protoss player, they have to they gotta always have their guard up in order to stop those cheese.
Yeah, and you could tell yesterday the Protoss players had their guards up because was it yesterday? No, it was the day before the series. Best and who's the other Protoss that made it? Shuttle. Yes, they were very cautious versus Beast because they knew he was somebody that could definitely, on a dime, go into kill mode in the early game. We're getting a look at Rain's profile, and am I dreaming?
Wow.
Does that say an 85% win rate versus Protoss? That's insane.
Yeah, I remember back then where Rain won the ASL. I think that was in Season 7, I believe. There were, like, he literally played a lot different, like, many Protoss in that tournament. Like, he beat Snow, he beat I cannot remember every single players, but yeah, he's insanely good at PvP for sure.
Yeah, whenever I watched Rain play PvP, which is not often because, I'm a Terran player, but there are times where I'm watching, I'm like, okay, Snow has build order advantage, for example. Like, let's say it's like Robo Observer versus DT. I'm like, there's no way Rain can win. And then he just knows where the Observer's going to be. He avoids it, and somehow, like, a DT just waltzes in and just ends the game almost. So this guy, it doesn't really matter what build order he opens with. Other player could have a massive advantage in terms of build order, but he'll just turn it around and take the victory. And you can see reflected in the statistics that is absolutely true. 16 and 3, 84% win rate. That's almost queen level of win percentage, right? He had like a Zerg versus Protoss win rate of over 90% a couple seasons ago. Just crazy. We're going to be getting into game 1. It's going to be Eclipse. It's going to be Rain versus Bishop. What can you tell us about Bishop's TVP?
Well, Bishop asked me about how he should be, like, playing against Protoss, because he was playing lots of off race back then. Like, of course, you know that TVZ or TVT, the meta doesn't really actually shift, but TVP, we have seen the meta have been shifting for like every single 6 months or a year or so. So Bishop was asking me lots of advice for it, but I wonder Bishop has got some plan when he's playing on this 2-player map on Eclipse.
Well, he's going to need a plan because this is one of the hardest maps to play on for TVP. Okay, in the bottom left, the return of one of the greatest Protoss players ever. It is Rain. And in the top right, a newcomer to ASL, it is Bishop. Now, you were talking about meta shifts in TVP. What is one of the changes you've seen in the past year or so?
Well, I would say probably like 2021, where every single product started to do the speed shuttle into storm drop every single game. And remember, like back then, whenever Taran started to have that 2-1 upgrade with 200 supply, we just started to move out. But that kind of playstyle doesn't work anymore. So we just have to play more like a turtle playstyle and then sit on 3 base, 4 base, waiting until to have 3-2 upgrade whatsoever.
Yeah, I have also noticed that trend. I think the player that I like the most when they play that style is Light, because he seems to be one of the few Taran players that is content with playing passive like that and just splitting the map. And he splits it so well even on maps like Polypoid. So we do have forward gateway from Rain, and of course this pesky probe is going to come in. And yesterday we saw no Taran try to defend this by canceling an SCV, and that looks like it's going to be the same case here. No cancel, and that's going to be another gas steal.
But look at that Rain supply. He just had a 10. He cut off his worker production in order to do the gas, though. I mean, I do not understand about this part. I mean, obviously Taran will not have 100 minerals to make the refinery at supply 11, and Protoss Rain will have that 100 mineral on time to go for the gas steal, but he was actually cutting off the probe. So here's a little bit of a minor mistake by Rain from what I see, but he's doing lots of harassment with his probe.
Yeah, but the SCV's doing a lot of damage too. Like, all the shields on that probe is gone, so that's a good job from Bishop, knocking it down to just 14 health. Now, however, that SCV, okay, still has 25 health. Now, we are seeing a deviation compared to players like Light. We see that the SCVs are on top of that assimilator already. I remember the other day, Light was waiting a really long time to actually end up killing that gas, so this may actually be... Well, it's still going to be gasless, right? Like, there's no way he can go into a factory off of this.
I personally do not like where Pisha wasn't actually checking the second Nexus, or when the second Nexus is going to be starting or whatsoever. Or he's also not putting down the bunker at the natural, so I guess he's just going to be prioritizing of killing the simulator and go for the refinery before the command center. I do not know. I feel like this one zealot that hiding behind on the mineral line might gonna buy lots of time.
Yeah, this... I've had a couple players do this to me on ladder, and it is so annoying. Now, good job right there from Bishop to focus down that probe. And with an SCV pull, oh my god, that could have been amazing. But the SCV's a little mismicroed there, and the Zealot's going to slip into the main. However, Bishop's still okay, but he needs to get something in that bunker. Otherwise, he's going to have multiple Zealots, what looks like 3 in his main in just a moment.
Yeah, this Zealot, one Zealot didn't really do much of a job, but already bought lots of time, ruining Bishop's build order so far, delaying that command center as well, delaying his mining the gas time as well. We do not see the factory going up yet, even if he killed that gas that fast. I mean, he's just having lots of pain in his ass here. I have a... Oh my god, I feel like this game is almost over. I mean... What was the point of getting the refinery so fast if you're taking so much of a harassment by these 3 Zealot? Okay, first Zealot died, but these remaining 2 Zealot, he's just struggling so much.
Yeah, these Zealots have done potentially game-ending damage. If this is me, I'm already out of the game. I feel so sad for Bishop because that SCV pull was amazing on the ramp. He finally gets rid of these 3 Zealots, but the damage is done. At least his factory is pretty darn fast compared to the other day, Light. So he will have the tank coming out pretty soon. But another Zealot into the... Okay, the SCVs again, just let them walk by.
I have to point this out. Bishop has been getting the supply box 26 so long that he wasn't able to make the additional Marine and additional SCV production. And so he just literally had those money like floated the whole time. And... you know, Bishop made more than 4 Marine. That additional Marine could have been more like building a supply depot, or maybe have more worker production or whatsoever, but it just doesn't seem so great in my opinion.
Yeah, and you have to remember that the SCV died in the early stages, so he has no idea what this is. So, also, Rain saw that it's a 2-fec. Like, if this was like a DT follow-up with no eBay, I mean, DTs could have been walking into his base in, 30 seconds or so, and the game probably ends. But, of course, luckily for Bishop, that's not happening. But he needs to get an eBay, which is wasted money at this point.
Yeah, I feel like those early 3-Zealot aggression by Rain has done so much of damage that he was able to stop all those Bishop scouts with single SCV earlier. And right now, Bishop literally has no idea what Rain is doing. He doesn't know how fast the robotic facility is. He doesn't know whether this is 2-gate gun range upgrade whatsoever. So he's just not gonna be taking any risk. He will be just straightforward going for Academy and an Armory, as the spectator has shown us. And Rain is sending out a probe. Is he just gonna start taking the expansion at the 5 o'clock?
Looks like that's what he's going to do. Now, this shuttle does not have a Reaver in it, and I'm not sure if this is just to, try and bait a pull on the SCV line or what this is, because there's nothing in here.
I can explain about this shuttle. The intention of this shuttle is, if you're going for Shuttle Reaver directly, that Shuttle Reaver build can be countered by factory into Starport build. But if you want to play safe, you go for the shuttle into Observer. We can see from the minimap that something small dot moving towards to the minimap. That must be the Observer. So this is the Shuttle Observer into a Reaver build.
Right, well, yes, the shuttle does confirm that there was no Starport. So for now, Shuttle's going to get away and Reaver's going to be coming back pretty soon, I imagine. Meanwhile, that probe did not go and build a third base at bottom right. It ended up building a pylon at the bottom side of the map that we can barely see. I guess he was anticipating potentially drops. Not the case in this game, though. He did scout that it is an Armory follow-up, so no surprise that Protoss is just going to instantly take... Oh, maybe not. I was going to say instantly take his third base, but instead, that's a Stargate.
If I were Bishop, I would not even plan to go for fast 3cc, because Rain wasn't even taking that third expansion so fast. I mean, Bishop was scouting the third expansion at like 7 minute 30ish, somewhere around there. So he knew, he can guess this has to be something.
Yeah, and it's going to be carriers, because that's generally the follow-up to Reavers. Usually not going to see Reaver Arbiter. The Reaver unloads, not the greatest shot. Okay, he takes down a Goliath, but overall that was good defense from Bishop. And if we look at the supply, actually pretty much dead even for both players. So Bishop, despite the early game, has done a pretty good job to recover.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, he takes out another Goliath.
That is not looking great for Bishop, because he needs those Goliath to move out with the timing. Whenever he realized there's a Stargate at the main base, I don't know if he hasn't scanned it yet, but Observer, okay, that must be the scan was at the natural to snipe one of the Observer. So this is great. He's prioritizing of getting the 2-1 upgrade, but if he puts down the third command center, I don't think this is going to be looking great.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Since he has the scans, there is potential that he may scan this, and it sounds like you want to see a factory flood if he finds it. How many do you think he should put down? Is he going to put down, 5? Should he go into like 7 and just really all in? How do you counter this from Rain?
In order to counter this carrier build, I kind of suggest to Taran players to go with some sort of either 2-1 upgrade with a 2-base all-in, or I shouldn't say it's an all-in, but it's kind of like a semi all-in, but it's very, very powerful. And the macro, your supply count goes up really, really fast if you're doing the 2-base 2-1 upgrade, because you're skipping their command center and more about worker production. But here we see from the spectator showing that Bishop used to scan, but he didn't pick up the Observer.
Yeah, he didn't get the Observer, so this Reaver is still going to be content. Laying here and waiting. Okay, that's a good tank fire, and the Reaver didn't fire at all. So for now, Bishop's done a good job, just a single hit from both of those Reavers. But however, you got to point out that those scans do keep Bishop from knowing that this is carriers, and there is the third command center that you didn't want to see.
Yeah, there's the third command center, and he has been using those scanners to cut up the observer. Yes, cutting up the observer is definitely great, but one of the scanners, one of the concept station must be used to figure out whether this is the Reaver into carrier build, like how Bonnet usually does. I know you have been casting lots of DSL. Bonnet is one of the foreign products player who's really good at carrier build. And oh, finally he sees the carrier here.
Yeah, now he doesn't see the carrier count, but you can assume that maybe at most it's at 4 right now. There's at least 2 so far. So Bishop, he knows that he's got to get onto the map pretty quickly. You don't want to face 8 carriers. That's probably unstoppable, honestly. Reavers have done such a good job to just keep the Taran in place. It's going to be a real struggle for Bishop. However, got to point out that the third base still isn't running for Rain. So it's not like this is Carrier Man with huge econ behind it.
To me, Bishop seems really passive with his Goliath to seize tank, push out when there's a single or 2 Reavers trying to buy some time. I mean, I feel like Bishop could have taken an expansion much quicker, but well, he was able to safely take an expansion. But it would have been much better case if he has taken that base maybe 1 minute earlier. But now he's taking this expansion at 11:50ish, somewhere around there. So all those carriers are already moving out. He knows there's lots of zealots at the natural as well.
Now, we did see Rain's base for a moment, and I wasn't sure if actually the Stargates were continuing to blink. I don't think that he's only going to build 2. I mean, that's crazy. But the gateway count is pretty high, I think around 8 or so.
He skipped the armory upgrade.
Oh, no.
Hopefully that is not the +2 upgrade. Hopefully that main base armory is the +2 upgrade, but he did forget about the second armory at the natural, not getting the armor upgrade. Here's the carrier. We'll be pulling out the interceptors to make the missile turret a little bit ruined and attacking the interceptors, and while that, it can be able to drop those double Reaver, maybe 4 Zealot inside. Let's take a look.
Yep, here comes those shuttles, just as you stated, and straight into the main base. And this is a point where +2 is not done yet. So if he can focus down that armory, this would be probably a game-ending move.
I think he will. On top of it. Oh wait, the +2's not up. Yeah, okay, wow. That's a great news. So have some hope that he got the +2 upgrade on time. But what about your third expansion, Bishop? I mean, did he just unseat all of his siege tanks to defend those Zealot and 2 Reaver drop?
Yeah, I think he did. However, those 4 Goliaths or so almost kill a carrier and dealt a decent amount of damage to the second one. However, because he moved all of his units, Rain instantly attacks the third base, and he forces a lot of SCVs to be transferred, and he kills a ton. So this was good damage, but Bishop, surprisingly, still high in supply. It's 150 to 135.
Yeah, he was able to get some army trade here and picking up some of those Zealot and Gun. Nicely done, but this carrier harassment, it's just gonna delay his pressure for a long time. He's rebuilding his armory at the main base. I wonder if the second armory, yes, the second armory at the natural is still alive, so that's a great news. Hopefully he's getting the +3 upgrade right now, but this amount of damage that he just has taken by those gun pressure, Zealot pressure into also the carrier with the Reaver drop, he just needs more time to move up. But once those carriers starts to have lots of number, then I'm not sure whether Bishop will have some opportunity to win this game. Oh my god, even High Templars are out.
Well, Bishop's army is still scary. He's got 150 supply. I don't think he's lost a tank yet, and he's got a good Goliath count. Also, Vulture count seems to be decent, and he snipes one of the Templars, at least the second Templar going down. And remember, 2 of these carriers are low. Those Goliaths are on top of the carriers, but he's got to focus down them.
Those 5 Goliaths could have taken down one of the carriers, I believe, but the AI with the terrain just decided to move to that side while he wanted to back off, but he forgot about those Goliaths and losing it for free. If we hear more scan, I'm not sure about throwing scans like that will be is useful because as Taran in this kind of scenario where he doesn't have any missile turret to deny those observer, he has to use those comsat station to pick up the observer. If he doesn't pick up the observer, Protoss is just literally map pack in this game. Map pack. Carry can be standing at the right side or left side anytime whenever they want, whenever Rain wants. And yeah, those you can see from the minimap, there are two green dots.
Yeah, and Rain has started to expand to the bottom side of the map. He's got 4 bases, be taking his 5th base pretty soon. Meanwhile, Bishop's still stuck on 3 bases. Oh, I see he just now put down his 4th base, so that's good for him. However, this is Eclipse, where these carriers can just look over the ledge exactly like this and harass nonstop. And I also have to point out that the armory's right there, so if the Terran's ever out of position, he could potentially snipe that. However, it's been a while since +2 has kicked in, so +3 weapon might be finishing in just a couple seconds or so.
I don't understand what Bishop is actually planning, because whenever you see carrier build, you're pretty much in Korean language, there's like the offender and the defender thing, like how we talk about the game. Whenever Protoss doing the carrier build, Taran has to be the offender, has to go out whenever they are ready. But Bishop is just started to playing turtle style, not gonna be attacking for some reason, just gonna be expanding towards the 11 o'clock side. But this trade seems like it worked out so well so far.
Yeah, decent trade for Bishop there, but I gotta point out that DT did freaking work on those tanks. He knocked down like 3 or 4 of them by himself. And you can see that the tank count is pitiful. And if Rain recognizes that, switching into goons or more ground-based army will be a good switch for him. 4th base about to come up for Bishop, though, and that's going to be a good swell of econ. But the Protoss army, he's going to go kill it instantly.
For me, I'm looking at the carrier count. I'm not sure why Rain doesn't have a 6th carrier yet. In this, the game log has gone. Oh, there are the two additional carriers just has arrived. 6 carriers are gonna be starting to pick up those siege tank. Guns, zealots, they're just pretty much buttering the bread, and now High Templars are gonna be getting spoiled by the spider mines. Doesn't really matter. Those last High Templar will be doing the storm damage to the siege tank.
Yeah, and this attack snowballed too hard. This is going to be the end of Bishop here. Supplies plummeted for him. There it is. GG. And Rain, in his first back in the ASL, makes it look easy. Easy versus Bishop. Well, of course, the early game disaster with the Zealots for Bishop kind of set the pace of the game, but he seemed to recover well. Where do you think it went wrong, obviously, afterwards? Or after the Zealots?
Well, I'm not sure in Western to say the same thing, but in Korea we say we have the little phrase here that we have to button up, or how should I say, like zip up. Like in the jacket, there's like the buttons. The first button has to be matched correctly. Like for example, you're wearing a tuxedo or maybe nice shirt. You always have to button up your shirt, right? The first button has to be correct. If you don't have that first button put on right place, you have to go back to the beginning. So I think I would say like those the Reaver harassment, he didn't defend it so well. So probably it started to fall off so well for Bishop.
All right, well, hopefully he gets it together in his follow-up game. We're going to be going into Action versus Horang2 in just a second. We're back, everybody. We're going to be going into game 2. It's going to be Action versus Horang2, but of course, we've got our ASL event.
Yeah, so we are... before we move on to game number 2, I'm pretty sure we're going to be moving to ASL Season 13 event. Ask ASL. Let me raise up her voice a little bit so I can hear her better. So yeah, you go to ASL mainstream platform, Ask ASL event. Ask one of the questions to the player that you want to ask about, and if your comment gets selected, you will get the ASL mini humidifier. There's also the winner's prediction as well. If you get the winner's prediction correct, then you also get the ASL mini humidifier. So the game number 1 was somewhat intense, how well Rain was performing on Eclipse, but we're also excited to see how well Horang2 Bingsu is going to be played on this game number 2 against Action.
Yeah, this should be a good matchup. Remember, last season, Action kind of disappointed, so you know he's got a chip on his shoulder here. And that's what I was waiting to see, is what's his win rate versus Protoss? Surprisingly, it seems to be his worst matchup at just a 37% win rate.
That's odd. To me, from how I remember of Action, like he lost to Letta, and he also lost to Flash. So I was expecting Action might be having some not great win rate against Taran, but Action has decent win rate against Taran. I know it has nothing to do with against Protoss, but he lost to Flash back then in Season 8, I believe, or Season 9, that he lost to Flash 2-3, so it's somewhat odd how I'm seeing his Protoss matchup is the worst matchup.
And we're getting a look at Horang2's statistics here. You can see only 25% versus Zerg and Protoss, and his versus Taran, though, is really, really high at 85%. Honestly, I haven't seen Horang2 games online. I haven't seen him stream because I knew he hadn't been playing for a while. He seemed to be like a variety streamer. So not too sure of his current Protoss versus Zerg, but obviously Action, he streams every day, Spawn Gaming every day. So I think Action probably going to be a bit of a favorite here, but maybe Horang2 has something up his sleeve.
Before we go into the game, maybe I can give some insight of Horang2 Bingsu. He and I are in the same school. He's also the coach, and I'm also the coach as well. We were actually playing each other a couple days ago to show some students how they have to be played on a Taran versus Protoss matchup. So, Bingsu, Horang2 actually knows about the PvT meta, like how he has to be using the Reaver's Speed Shuttle Reaver and to like Storm Drop and Arbiter switches. So he's gonna be on point, but I'm not sure how well he's gonna be performing against Zerg.
Yep, well, our players are ready. We're going to get into game 2, guys. Of course, it's Eclipse, Action versus Bingsu. Okay, in the top right, our Zerg player, it is none other than Action. And then in the bottom left, in the yellow Protoss, it is Bingsu. Now, yesterday you were talking about how Soxry kind of... he seems to play similar to the top Zerg, but there's just something off with his play. Like he's not able to match the skill of Hero. Now, I know that's not the case with Action. He's one of the best, but what can you tell us about his play style in ZVP?
Action's play style against Protoss, I would highly say he's one of the Zerg player who kind of likes about the Muta Scourge play. But if you are playing the Muta Scourge play, if we have seen like how Queen was playing or Hero was playing, if they're doing the Muta build, then they are always going to be switching over to Mass Hydralisk with the +2 upgrade. Action does somewhat similar, but Action does not like to go for Mass Hydralisk play. He's one of the players who kind of likes to go for Muta Scourge into Armor Carapace with his first chamber, Evolution Chamber, and go for super fast high with the Lurker transition. So I'm pretty sure Action is just probably going to be playing like how Taran versus Protoss matchup is. Like you put some Siege Tank lineup and then start slowly taking the 4th expansion. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be start doing that with the Lurker build after the Muta Scourge.
Well, I know that a lot of Protoss players are rushing that +2 armor, so we'll see how that plays out versus a Zerg player that rushes Carapace. This was a 9-pool opener from Action, and that means Bingsu's going to have to scramble to get up this forage. He was, I guess, anticipating going into 12 Nexus, but that's not going to be the case for him since this is the early pool opener.
Yeah, there's a tiny of a rock, paper, scissors of this build order fight would be if the Bingsu, Horang2 wanted to do the pylon scout and figure out whether this is going to be the overpull or 12 hatcher, or maybe it could be the 9 pull as well. If he able to figure out whether if he was able to figure out this is overpull, he was able to go for pylon scout into Nexus first. But because of this 9 pull start, Bingsu cannot go for Nexus first. So there was a forge, and he's also putting on the double photon cannon. I feel he's playing really safe.
Yeah, unlike yesterday, these Lings are instantly out on the map, so Bingsu's gonna have to get up the double cannon if he wants to survive. Now these Lings are they gonna get there in time? There's no way. I mean, I think only one will complete by the time they arrive. Okay, he does wait a few seconds, and that means that the second one will complete, and meanwhile, Action gonna be taking his third base at top middle.
Yeah, so far everything seems about the same, but I have a feeling Bingsu could have skipped one of the second cannon and maybe go for the gateway, but maybe I guess he really wants to play safe here. And we see Bingsu was cutting up the worker production there at 16 to put down the gateway, and from just by looking at the minimap, I'm pretty sure he rushed the gateway before the second pylon, so there was a little bit of a worker production cut. And the pro, he saw everything, how fast the extractor was, so he definitely knows this is not going to be some sort of like a Zergling all-in or whatsoever.
Yep, Action just now starting to mine gas. Everything so far looks pretty normal. I don't expect to see a Hydrogen coming down, even if the Lings end up picking this off, but I guess it could happen. Did the probe get cornered? No, able to sneak by, which is obviously crucial in ZVP. And 100 gas did just get spent. It has to be on that layer. Yep, there it is.
There is the layer at the natural, so Bingsu knows this is going to be a very standard game. And finally the Nexus being warped, so he will be transferring some worker at the natural. But I wonder what action exactly going to be played on this game scenario. He sees the first Zealot moving out to the map, but I guess he's just going to be pulling back home. But with that 100 Vespene gas, oh, look at how fast the second gas is for Bingsu. Core just now finishes, second gas is already going up. I have a feeling this is going to be the DT Corsair build, how Bingsu was doing.
Yep, it very well could be. Meanwhile, Lair should be finishing momentarily. We've got the Stargate starting. I do see a pylon placed pretty high in the main of Bingsu. So far, hasn't... Okay, he just built something. Was that Citadel in his main?
Yeah, Citadel at the main at bottom of the mineral line. But he trapped his probe, so that's a little bit of a small mistake he has done. And we are also seeing some yellow dot above the assimilator at the main base. So that pylon placement, it's just kind of like his own building organization. He puts down the pylon above that assimilator, so he can put down mass gateway on the left and the right side at the same time. And that's just how he does. So,
well, we see that the Spire is about halfway done for Action. Don't see second gas at any of his other bases, so probably not going to be like a mass Muta play. Maybe we'll still build the first 5 Mutas to go for some harassment. Meanwhile, first Corsair coming out on the map. These Overlords are well hidden though, so I don't think it's going to get any kills.
yeah, just by looking at how what time exactly the Corsair came out, Spire is about nearly the matchup with the Corsair scout timing. And with that Corsair, if he doesn't get to see the Spire timing, he just has to guess. Okay, he now sees the Spire, so he's probably not going to be picking up any of the Overlord. Will he be? I guess he wants to take a risk of taking one of the Overlord, but he has to be careful. The Scourge production is already on the way, and he didn't see how fast the second gas was, nor the Hydrogen, so he won't be able to figure out whether this is going to be Muta Scourge build or Hydraless. Okay, picking up one Overlord, that's definitely nice. Is he trying to pick up the another Overlord?
I'm surprised he found that Overlord, but he does. However, these two Scourge are going to push the Corsairs back. Gateways coming in already around the 630 mark, and there is the DT follow-up you were talking about. And he instantly just, wow, how does Action know to look at his lings at that moment? And he, I think, saw the blur on the map and is aware a DT is moving out.
Yeah, I think Action just read everything correctly here because of when, you know, we have seen lots of Minis gameplay against Zerg. He always get that +1 attack super duper fast, and he gets that +1 attack finishes right before 7-minute mark. And I'm pretty sure Action with that first 6 Zergling saw Forge was not spinning that fast, so that probably gave him some information or how what exactly Bingsu wanted to play, and just catching every single strategy with the mind with the strategy wise. So that's very nice by Action.
Well, this opener was pretty much completely shut down by Action. However, Bingsu transitioning into the mid game quite well already with the 4 gateways. Even though his zealot count was extremely low, just 3 or so, he's going to be ramping up into 7, into 11 plus zealots quite quickly because of all the gateways already completed. We do have Evolution Chamber already done for Action. I guess it's going to be for that armor that you talked about previously. But I didn't see a 6th hatch anywhere. Okay, I think he just put it down at top middle.
Yeah, this game is not a game where he has gone for the Muta Scourge build, so I don't think this is going to be the armor carapace upgrade by Action, so I guess he's gonna be playing with the +2 Hydraless, how Queen is usually playing, and maybe go for the Lurker contain at the end. But here's the first group of Zealot finally moving out with 5 Corsairs, but does not have 6 Corsairs yet, so they are not able to one-shot, one-kill those every single Scourge he will be facing. But gotta be careful, Corsair. He didn't lose the Corsair.
Yeah, this Scourge got taken out quite quickly, and wow, Lurker's upgrade already complete, so this attack does nothing. However, the Corsairs will rack up a couple of Overlord kills, and it will supply block Action just slightly. However, it does give away the tech. He does realize that this is going to be a Lurker contain, so I'm sure Goon's going to be in production pretty soon. Wow, already into 8 gates.
Yeah, 8 gate, and because of how how fast the second gas was, Bingsu can get that robotic facility really fast as well. And we see, oh, I guess Action was going for the armor carapace instead of going for +1 Hydraless. So this is going to be some sort of like a Hive tech transitioning by Action. Lots of never mind, he has the +1 attack as well.
Yeah, he's going into triple Evolution Chamber, and when I saw those Lurkers get set up at the natural, I thought, this is interesting. I thought he may try and move out and go for a contain, so I was wondering what this is going to be, and it is just going to be fast Hive. Now, this is going to be for just tons and tons of lings, right? Like, they are so powerful, actually, versus Protoss.
Yeah, those lings are going to be very powerful once the Hive tech is done, but in this transitioning stage, Bingsu is still okay for going some Goons transitioning because those Hydraless has to be taken down by those mass Goon in this mid game stage here. Okay, those Zergling will be able to pick up one of the probe at the last second, but Action is playing super duper safe, I would say. I mean, he can just move out somewhat a little bit at this how should I say, like the center line, and maybe put some Lurker, but oh my god, those Corsairs.
I mean, supply blocking a Zerg is great, but I don't know about losing 5 or 6 Corsairs for that, and it also kind of just tells Action like, hey, I don't have any Corsairs anymore, so if you want to Muta switch and kill my Templar, go right ahead. I don't know about that move, but Bingsu still has supply lead. He's still got his 3rd base coming up, but I think that was a bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, after that Corsairs has gone down, look how Action just decided to spread all the Overlord every single location to have those map vision and map control. So he knows where the goons and zealots are finally moving out slowly. Yeah, this is really passive. Is he switching to Muta?
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be a Muta switch. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, when I saw the Hive, I was just instantly thought, like, this seems like it would be better designed for, like, a 4-player map where you're taking another main. Because, like, there's no 4th base for Action right now. And I don't see how he's going to get it for a while because of how passive he is and how strong the Protoss army is right now. But yeah, this is the Muta switch that I was talking about. And he's going to have to be very, very careful with those Templars.
Yeah, Mutalists are out, and we are seeing that 3rd expansion for Bingsu. He has the cannon set up, but those cannons set up for defending the Hydralists on a ramp. But these Mutalists just gonna be start to harass those mineral line, maybe even go for the main base. I'm not sure how many cannons are there at the main, but those guns will be taking down one of the hatchery. But what about your main base?
Well, this game's about to get weird because Action's army is across the map, and this is a lot of goons just sitting at the natural for Bingsu. Can he bust this? There's a lot of Lurkers and Lings, and Hive is done. We'll see if he can. He's going to try and move in here with the Zealots, but they're eating so many Lurker shots. The Storm is great, but I have a feeling it may be a little bit... No, actually, maybe it's not too late because Action's army is all the way across the map, like I said. Reinforcements coming from the back side, but Sunken, Lurker, and Lings from the back, I think, will just barely be enough. And you can see, actually, Bingsu's supply has plummeted down to sub 100.
Yeah, look at the mini-map. There's a Muta still flying around at the map and probably kill lots of pro. Bingsu, I guess he got somewhat triggered to bust for the natural here, but that bust didn't work out so well. He's trying to storm those Hydralists drone for the last second, but the main base and then the 3rd expansion just literally gone. Supply count has gone down to 70. Action. Yeah, Action is just going to be having lots of advantage on this game.
Oh, and the Mutas are still alive, so they come back for round 2 to pick off these probes. And we are moments away from seeing Bingsu tap out of this game. He went from having 3 base down to just 1. And what looked like, I thought, a decent spot for Bingsu on 3 bases versus 3 base Zerg. Just in an instant, all of a sudden throws his army, and that's it, and Action takes the game.
And that was a really strange move, how he threw all of his Corsairs to just kill some of the overlap for a supply block. And after losing those Corsairs, he literally had no air control after losing those Corsairs.
Yeah, and also during his attack at the natural, like, his Templars all had 200 energy, but he waited to cast the Storm until, like, after the Lurkers had done 3 or 4 shots onto the Zealots. I thought for sure Horang or Bingsu could bust through the net, but just as it was executed and as it was unfolding, it seemed like it was just off.
Yeah. So that was somewhat weird how Horang2 was playing. But we'll be probably going to be going for the Hot 6 commercial momentarily here.
Of course, we're going to have the Hot 6 coming up pretty soon. Well, this does... Oh, maybe. Guess we'll wait and see.
It has to be the Hot 6 for sure.
It has to be, right? Okay, yeah. They're going to scroll up to the Hot 6 right now. So this is going to set us up for Rain versus Action, another ZVP. Now, I mostly watch, whenever I watch Rain, I mostly watch him if he's playing versus Taran, but how's his Protoss versus Zerg these days?
Wait, who's on good these days?
Rain?
Rain, he's really good at absorbing like the meta. Like whenever the meta shift and he's not on playing on that meta, he watches the other streamers like let's say Snow, Mini, or maybe Bisu, how they are playing. He just literally absorbs like a Majin Buu. So yeah, Rain, even though he has taken a break for like almost 2 years and a half, he's probably gonna be playing really well against Action. And Action doesn't know how Rain plays, but Rain knows how Action was playing on a 2-player map earlier. So Rain is probably gonna be prepared for that, how he wants to counter against Action. whenever he does something different than the others work.
Yeah. So hopefully Action hasn't tipped his hand on his playstyle going into the future games. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I think we're going to have Metaverse again, right, for our winners match. Is that correct? Or is it a picked map by the players?
Players do ban each map out of 3. So
Uh,
if both of the players ban the same map, then the ASL staff will roll the dice, like the flip the coin, like head or tail, and then just decide one of the map. So yeah, it's gonna be determined whether it is going to be played on Metaverse, Monopoly, or Butter. The ASL
okay.
new maps, yeah.
Okay, well, I don't think we've seen Monopoly just yet. But I was watching yesterday a Metaverse game between Mini and Effort. Did you see that game?
Which game?
Mini versus Effort on Metaverse?
No, but I have
Uh, uh,
seen I've seen Mini versus Queen back then when Metaverse map was still on like the beta version, like doing some map tests. Like Mini was literally doing all those Reaver Corsair build, but after the map has gotten some feedback and map makers decided to change some details of the map, like adding the power generator to deny the third, the semi-island expansion, and you know, the first time when the metaverse came out, the natural, what is it? The main base from the natural base how was just literally just almost same as map Revolver. Remember, Revolver has a high
mm,
ground ramp, and you
yeah.
cannot do the 973 for the Hydralisk bust. But those okay, we'll be going for the commercial break. We'll be coming back soon.
We are back, and it is going to be Metaverse Action versus Rain. And the reason I was asking you if you saw the games of Effort versus Mini yesterday was because it was wild. Like, it was Reaver Corsair, like you said, with D-Web into carriers.
Whoa.
And it
What,
was
carrier?
a crazy... Yeah, there were carriers. I was like, what? This map is wild. So that's why I was hoping we get to see it, because Rain is somebody that will play super late game like that. So we may actually get to see the full arsenal of spells of the Protoss race.
Well, we have seen how Saxry was playing yesterday against Tyson. So I guess after the map makers have been getting those feedback by the Zerg player, Taran player, and Protoss player, like the high ground natural expansion is just literally hard to kill as Zerg and Taran against Protoss. Like high ground cannon, you cannot do 973. But once those the natural expansion is no more high ground expansion, you can actually do some like 973 how Saxry was doing before the lair attack. I wonder if Action is gonna be doing something similar like that, because with that early Hydralisk that he has used, he can pressure against Protoss and also kill the neutral temple on the other side and deny those semi-island expansion.
Yeah, I'm hoping we actually see a Hydra bust, because watching that Mini versus Effort game, Effort had like 8 bases, but the Reavers were like shooting through that outsider-esque base, and he's just killing mineral line and popping hatcheries with carriers. I think Action really should try and end the game ASAP, but we'll see what he's got planned. Our winners match is about to start, guys. Let's see who's going to make it out in first place of Group C. So in the top left, looking to make up for last season, it is Action. And in the bottom right, trying to prove a point that he is back and better than ever, it is Rain. So we've got cross spawns again. I think we saw cross spawns yesterday, right?
Yeah, it's exactly the same place.
Yeah, and we saw Saxry just pick apart Tyson. I'm sure Rain has watched that game, and I guarantee you he will not build his Robo the natural. That's 100% not going to happen, because Tyson got that thing picked off at least twice. Now, I'm waiting to see what Action's opener is going to be. Is it going to be another 9 pool?
Yeah, so that is going to be... Rain will be putting on the pylon at the natural. And he's not doing the pylon scout. He's immediately gathering the mineral at the natural and going back home. Action... I guess Action really likes to go for the 9 pool opening, but Rain... I wonder if he's just going to be going for 109 gateway, or yeah, it seems like a 109 gateway, but somewhat a little bit delayed. 1010, 111, 111.
Yeah, so maybe this position at bottom right not as optimized as some of the positions like top right, for example, on Polyvoid. Now again, this was a 9 pool from Action. I'm trying to think back to the other Zerg games we've already seen in ASL. It seems like it's 9 pool or 12 hatch. Like yesterday, Saxry went 12 hatch every game, but I'm pretty sure Beast 9 pooled also versus Protoss. So it seems like 9 pool's making a trendy comeback, at least so far in this ASL. Unfortunately for Rain, does not find Action in the top right position, and he's going to cross scout. That means he's going to find Action last at top left, and if this Zealot moves out blindly, may get intercepted by Lings.
Well, this is a very interesting of how Protoss players doing end scout, how Taran is doing against Protoss matchup. Okay, I guess he has seen the overlay, so he'll be immediately sending the probe all the way to 11 o'clock side. But now the first Zealot is moving out, since this is a cross-spawn matchup. Rain has to pull back that Zealot.
Yeah, and I thought that those Lings might just try and instantly pounce on that probe, because even if he's not able to get across the map and, you know, do some pressure like that, if you can just eliminate scouting from this 2-minute mark, I mean, that's an amazing scenario for Zerg. We do see instantly the Forge go down, and Rain tightening up that wall with the single Zealot and probe at the top.
Yeah, that probe and a single Zealot on hold position. I like it. He's trying to buy some time in order to get the third Zealot popping out, and those Forge did have some help SimCity to deny that Zergling run by for a long time. So yeah, only 4 Zergling will be sneaking in, but now I guess Rain will be decided to move out and not just gonna be waiting and putting down the photon cannon at the natural. 1 Zealot will be chasing the 4 Zergling. These 2 remaining Zealots will be going across all the way to Action's base, but I wonder whether Action is just gonna be going for more of a drone production or maybe Zergling production from here.
Well, this was a nice move out with the Zealots to force more Lings. The 4 Lings in the main, though, even though they haven't gotten a single probe kill, have done a good job to just be annoying. And Action is going into that split map scenario like Larva loves to go for. And I think we may actually see a similar similar build to what we saw last game, because that Hive style seems to play much better on when you're able to take bases like this. Now the probe ends up dying again, so that's going to be no intel for Rain for a long time. And is he speedling all in it?
Yeah, he committed for going for Zergling speed. Here he's cutting off all those worker production, getting the Zergling speed on the way. Single probe will be scouting the 1 o'clock base, so Rain might gonna misread this information. Oh, you have taken that 1 o'clock expansion, so your main goal is to go for a split map scenario, but it really isn't. He's just gonna be going for the Zergling all in right now.
Well, I think actually he's not all inning, because that is a drone that got built at top right. So it looks like the speed is just to be as annoying as possible in the main and intercept a small Zealot move out just like that. And he's not mining gas at all. So this is going to be like, I'm guessing 5 or 6 hatch before really mining any gas. Another probe falls. This is the 3rd one that's died this game. I mean, that's a lot of damage. But these Zealots have gotten across the top right, and all of these Lings are out of position.
Yeah, I wonder the Zergling speed without getting the lair tag upgrade is that great or whatnot here. But those 3 Zealot will be standing behind the mineral line and also using those Vesping Geyser for the reducing the terrain and not letting those Zerglings to surround. And now Action is just gonna be going for the trade. He might be able to surround that 1 Zealot at the top side, but he's not really doing it.
Nicely done from Action there. He's going to wipe out these 3 Zealots, but he's going to see these drones were idle also. He's going to put those back onto mining. Meanwhile, there's still a Ling inside of Rain's base. I'm not sure how many kills the Lings have gotten. The probe count looks pretty healthy, so I'm going to say maybe just a couple. Ooh, glitching a probe through here. So this might be what Tyson was trying to go for yesterday, a fast 3rd base potentially.
Oh, so with that the probe jumping over the mineral line, I guess Rain is just gonna be start expanding towards the 6 o'clock side while attacking the power generator, and once that building falls, you can literally put down the Nexus ASAP. And Action cannot kill that 6 o'clock expansion until he has the air unit, or maybe even go for the overload drop, but we know he has not gone for the lair attack in the early stage, so he needs to wipe this Zealot before those Zealot runs away.
Yep, this is going to be the best engagement he could possibly get, and he pounces on these 5 Zealots. I think the Zealots will just barely lose this fight. There's so many Lings here, and Action does clean it up. Now, meanwhile, that Sarah did, I guess, kill a single Overlord. We haven't gotten to see the follow-up from Rain because it seems to be really prioritizing, I guess, taking the 3rd base. Like, I don't see a second gateway. Okay, there it is. Not sure if he even has Citadel just yet either. I mean, he has to, right? Okay, there it is.
Yeah, that probe is desperately trying to go inside and letting that single Zergling inside of the base. Action made a lot of Zergling in the early stage. He managed to kill those Zealot before the +1 attack. So this was a very good trade for Action. But I want to see how fast the lair attack is. He doesn't have any idea whether Rain has taken the 6 o'clock expansion or whatnot.
Yeah, he came in and saw that there's no Gateway Flood, there's no Templar Archive, it was just Corsairs banking up, so he may be thinking like, oh, hey, you may have taken a third base already. We know that that's not the case because that power generator is not taken down just yet. But Corsair is going to move across the map, and hello, Hydras are already in position. It seems to be 5 hatch production for now. I don't see a 6th hatch anywhere, but I'm really liking Action Spot so far.
Well, he's already mining the second gas for Action, so I have a feeling he should have the alert tag just by finish by now, and maybe getting for the, yeah, he does have the alert, so he should be going for the overlord speed. And I'm carefully looking at how fast the third extractor is. If you ever get to see that third extractor being more super fast, then you have to literally assume this has to be something like a Lurker switches or whatnot. But I guess the action is immediately going for Hydralisk, mass Hydralisk. Overlords are also moving forward.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to bust this, but so many cannons are going up. First couple Templars are already out, but no Storm available just yet. And still, if we look at the main of Rain, there's no gateways like we saw last game where Horang2 had 8 gates already going up at this point. So really, Rain is desperately trying to get this third base up, and I think he might get punished because his unit count is just super lackluster right now.
Yeah, Zealots are trying to support that forge.
Oh.
He will be canceling the armor 1 upgrade. Rain is probably going to be building double forge or maybe a single forge at the main, but yeah, we see lots of big buildings going up at Rain's main base. That has to be the mass gateway right now he's making. Okay, so here's something that I want to ask you about, or what he's going to be doing about it. Rain is taking the 6 o'clock expansion. That's definitely great. But how will he transfer his worker?
Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about that. How is he going to transfer those workers? He doesn't have a shuttle, or he doesn't have a robo, so there's no shuttle. Yeah, there's no way he's just going to produce one at a time out of the Nexus, right?
Did you notice that Action misplaced the hatchery at the 1 o'clock?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, look at the hatchery line with the Vespene geysers. It's
Oh.
slowly tilted to the left side. So he definitely misplaced the hatchery there. Yeah, here's finally the robo. I wonder if he's gonna be straightforward making the shuttle ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be building that shuttle. It's going to be useful going into the mid and late game, so expect those to transfer sometime soon. Now that is... Yeah, I was
Triple.
wondering, is there triple evolution chamber? And the answer is yes. So this is starting to line up similar to last game because, again, Action in a defensive posture with these Hydras. Oh, he resituated it. He fixed it.
He fixed his own hatchery. He didn't like it. Yeah,
And that's a big
that's
deal,
funny.
obviously. Now, I think Rain is going to be in trouble because this type of style is just so hard to beat. But I guess it is Metaverse where Rain's... he's not necessarily getting a free third base because it took him a while to get it. But Protoss is going to... Zerg is going to be on 4 bases with access to like 7 bases across the top side of the map. I think this is going to be really hard for Rain to deal with, but we'll see what he comes up with. As I was stating yesterday, many ended up going even into carriers and D-Web, but we don't see any Stargates really, other than the first one from Rain.
Yeah, lots of lurkers are being morphed, and drones were also transferred to 1 o'clock expansion. Rain is also putting down another Nexus as well. He knows he cannot really do anything against this 4-base turtle style, so that's also great for Rain's decision making here that he's taking another expansion. And for Action might be thinking that Nexus had just started to warp. He might be thinking that is a third Nexus, but technically it is not. And yeah, that's lots of gateway being built. That's even more gateway being built at the main base, and I wonder how Rain is just gonna be doing with those massive gateway unit. He hasn't done anything. I mean, Action is just playing turtle, droning up more. Maybe he might gonna go for a drop upgrade later on once that hype tech finishes. Then
Yeah,
Action is opening up a door on the right side.
Yeah, I was thinking that drops would be a great move here, but the Corsairs are still alive, so maybe not. However, killing those temples will be fantastic. And I don't know about this mass gate style. However, Rain does have, access to 4 gas, but he's going to have to start pumping out some really, really high-tech units if he wants to deal with high-tech Zerg. Again, these goons are going to snipe a hatchery. The forward hatch is going to fall, and he is just going to fall back.
At this mess, Zergling and Hydralis will be moving left and right to buy some time, maybe draw some attention to the left side so he can comfortably defend his 1 o'clock expansion. Double forges spinning, that's about, I cannot do the math, 10 gateways so far for Rain. Rain has the 4th base saturated already. This is the 1-1 upgrade of Protoss. About to go up the high ground, but high ground Lurker and Zergling with Hydralis. Not sure how he's going to be able to break, but that's definitely a nice storm so far.
Ooh, if there are Reavers in this, I think Rain might be able to plow through. The storms have been fantastic, blanketing a ton of the Lurkers and the Hydras, and he just seems to have endless storms. Also, you can see he controlled his Zealots where he just kept them in the back. Hasn't lost really any of them. He has a 60 supply lead. Of course, we know that that can be changed in an instant if Zealots run into a Lurker field. Now that shuttle again went unscouted. I love these Lings on patrol, and this is going to be a DT drop, but did he see it?
And I think he does, because there's lots of Overlord and Hydralis are sitting. Defiler Mound is up, but the Defiler Mound is up, but Defiler is not out yet, but those high temper storm drop. Definitely doing such a great job, but where is your Spire? You need Spire to stop those shuttle flying around left and right, and also deny those 5 Corsair. They were doing some hunting some Overlord, and look, Rain is about to set up another base at the bottom left.
And that is a ton of Lurkers. It's going to be so hard to push through here. However, Lurkers have to have support, and Rain is maxed out versus just a 100 supply army. Is Rain just going to take him down right now? Knight is popping out some Hydras, but that's an amazing storm.
Wow.
Kills all of the Hydras. The Zealots are kind of bleeding out, but with more reinforcements coming in, it's still a 70 supply lead. Getting on top of the Lurkers, I think Rain found the one moment he had, and he's going to breach the Nat and potentially knock down the main.
Yeah, actually, I'm just literally impressed how well he was able to break the high ground Lurker, like high ground Lurker defense line. Like, I guess he just used the storms so well there, but we see Action is struggling here. Action is struggling to defend his natural. I mean, Rain's supply count doesn't even go down that well. I mean, 179, 197, 199 now, and Rain. It's just power overwhelming, I'll say.
Yeah, luckily for Action, he's got the orange cloud, nullify those Dragoons. But he is so close to just being crushed right here because Rain's army is overwhelming. And behind this, it's not like Rain's all in. He's got 5 bases. He's starting to split the map himself. I even see something at the top middle of the map. I don't know if those are Corsairs or what, but if he was able to do stuff like this while this is going on, he just taps out because he can't keep up with the multitask and the power of Rain, and he makes it out in first place.
That was a excellent play by Rain, like how he was just busting the high ground Lurker and also going for the DT drop at the same time, and then late game transition. He just was playing like fastest, like start doing the storm drop here and there, and he also even got the speed shuttle at the last second. So that was a brilliant play.
Yeah, I was watching it and I'm just like, okay, Rain, you got to do something, man, because this is 4 base Zerg where their huge hive power spike is about to kick in, and he hit, I think, at the only moment he could because everything was about to kick in. You saw that the Dark Swarm came up like what? Maybe 15 seconds too late for it to nullify that attack. Perfect execution from Rain, and he is looking like a monster going into the round of 16.
Yeah, I think they are ready to do the winner's interview momentarily. Let me turn on the sound. Yeah, the music is still blasting, so we'll wait a little bit. Here it
ASL
is.
시즌 13 24강 시조 경기 함께하고
So,
계십니다. 오늘의 첫
we are
번째
going
16강
to be
진출자가
meeting the
탄생했는데요.
first,
돌아온 푸앙 정윤종 선수입니다.
first player who will be
축하드립니다.
advancing into round of 16 in this ASL Season 13
2년이
round of
넘는
24
공백이
Group C.
있었거든요,
That is going to be Rain. Congratulations.
그런데 그 공백이 전혀 느껴지지 않는, 느낄 수가 없는 경기력이었습니다.
So when we were watching your game, you were taking a break for 2 years and a half. You were playing excellent. We didn't feel anything that you were. We couldn't even feel that. Mechanically, you seem like you didn't take any break whenever you're playing the game. So that was an excellent play. And how do you feel today's game? So Rain is saying that.
멀티태스킹이나 유닛을 활용하는 능력이나 그리고 또 운영하는
Rain is saying that he, even though he made it out of this group with 2 wins without any loss, he still thinks that he still needs to understand the map more, and also the understanding of the meta, because all the players have been doing different playstyle nowadays. So he kind of thinks that he needs to study off the other players more than he thinks. So he also saying about Rain's wrist, carpal tunnel, and his fingers are starting to hurt because of his age. Like he's starting to get old and old. So he's kind of not sure whether he can actually play well as before, but he'll try his best. Rain is also saying something more about round of 16. The caster asked Rain, how are you going to prepare for round of 16? So he's saying he'll be probably needs to take some rest to maintain his wrist, like better condition, and also study some other players. Any last word to your fans or people? So he's saying he wants to say thanks to his fans. He's satisfied with the result that he's pretty sure that he gave to the audience the great game performance, but he will try his best to climb up higher and higher. He doesn't want to get knocked out in round of 16. Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, well, in an instant, Rain turned that game around, and he looks like he is super on point, and he makes it out in first place. And we're going to be going into our losers match in just a second. It's going to be Bishop versus Bingsu, so don't go anywhere. We're back with the losers map or the losers match, and I was gonna say, Scan, do you see that map coming up? It's Monopoly. It's gonna be the first time we've seen it in ASL.
Monopoly map is one of the ASL new map that we haven't seen it yet. We're gonna be taking a look at here. We can see lots of triangle shape in the middle. That's a island. That's an island that you cannot actually walk with the ground army. You cannot scout with it, but with the air unit, you can scout it. The rush distance is 29 seconds. Nearly the same as fighting spirit rush distance from natural to the natural. And we can see from the resource information, the main base has 9 mineral fields plus 1 bonus mineral field. That's 500. And natural has 7 mineral fields with the Vesping Geyser as well. This kind of map reminds me of a hidden track where you can rotate it to the other direction and start attacking. How hidden track was made, and somewhat similar to it, but we see lots of circles. Middle is the island, and they're also circling the natural and the third expansion. Probably easy to take, I guess, for Taran.
Yeah, so a lot of backstab potential, but if you're gonna backstab, because of that middle area being an island, it is going to take you a bit of time to get across the map. One of the things I noticed as a Taran player is those mineral positionings, not all of them up against the edge of the map. So instantly I thought of, okay, well, if Mutas get here, am I in trouble? But actually, even though there are two sides where the Mutas could harass, at least in the bottom left position, for example, there's not that much space for the Mutas to just, run around. So I guess maybe Muta harassment isn't as bad as I thought. Of course, that's not going to be a factor here because it's TVP. But I wonder if anybody's going to take that center map position. Also, it looked like 3 bases are pretty easy to take. I don't know how much experience you have on Monopoly so far. I'm sure quite a bit since you played in ASL qualifiers.
This Monopoly map, I asked the other players like Moonlight tier players like Ample, Ruin, Motive. Ruin said he doesn't like Monopoly because the rush distance is so close for him that he has to deal against those 3 tank push. And Bishop, here's something I would like to talk about Bishop's playstyle. He's not really that great with the fast upgrade, like how Turtle playstyle was, like how he was doing in game number 1 on Eclipse. But Bishop, he likes to go for timing attack with 3 tanks all the time. So I think the map is kind of fit to his playstyle.
Alright, well, let's see if Bishop can make an upset here and eliminate Bingsu in the round of 24. Okay, in the top left, our red Taran, it is Bishop. And then, of course, in the mid-right position, our blue Protoss player, it is Bingsu. Now, I have to admit, I have very limited games on Monopoly in terms of viewing. I haven't played it at all because unless it's in the ladder map pool, I just generally don't play the ASL map. So you're going to have to fill us in on strategies here. You're talking about 3 tank play. Now, is there anything special that Protoss does on this map? Like, is it a carrier map? Is it a reaver map?
None of the playstyle fits to Protoss, but maybe if I have to choose one, it would be standard opening with the reaver opening first into maybe an arbiter switch at the end. Because if you go for the arbiter, you can see how wide the main base is, and as Taran, you have to put so much of a missile turret to defend the arbiter recall here. But at the same time, if you want to go for the arbiter, you have to buy a lot of time. There's a progress of making the Gun Observer into set up at Dune and then slowly taking off the Templar Archive with the Stargate follow-up. Taran is not gonna let that happen at all. Taran is just gonna be moving out whenever he can. And we see Bishop is already okay, he's gonna be building the barracks with the main instead.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed from Bishop is that depot placement. I was like, isn't the ramp on the right side? And the answer is yes. So for now, there's no Sim City. And Bishop is not going to get gas stolen this time. So of course, going to go straight into the 12 gas. Now, something to point out compared to the previous Taran vs. Protoss we saw, no fast scout from Protoss. So he's going to be in the dark. Just get his econ going a little bit better.
Yeah, 12 gas into 13 scout by Bishop. He will be doing the he will be first scout the Bishop Bingsu, and Bingsu is setting up the cybernetics core at the behind of the mineral line, so he's gonna be blocking one of the path, and he's also building a second pylon at the main. So I guess Bingsu wants to play straightforward gun build without any sort of like a Zal aggression in the early stage, but I wonder whether Bingsu will be doing the 19 Nexus build.
Well, we'll see. He's banking up a lot of resources right now. Factory coming down for Bingsu, for Bishop, of course. Even though you're talking about the main being wide open for recall already, I'm at least liking the map in terms of the size of the main, because there are some maps where I just don't have any room to put factories. Like, I just can't build them anywhere. It looks like that's not going to be an issue on Monopoly. So far I'm liking that. Now, Probe went to the natural. This could be for a hidden pylon or just build the Nexus. Okay, it is the Nexus.
Yeah, so Bishop will be sending out the scouting SCV outside of Bingsu's main base.
Oh, is that 2-fact?
Yeah, there is a second factory is already going up for Bishop. So that's good news.
Is this Bishop or is this Artosis? Because this is definitely an Artosis build. And that's a lot of Marines too. Usually when you see this amount of Marines, this is like a 1-fact FD. But he's already up to 4, maybe even going into like 5 or 6. The question for me is, how many tanks is it? Is it going to be the Joyo style where it's 3 tanks, or is it going to be the V Gundam style where it's just 1 tank and Rally Vultures?
But we can also see how forward the bunker was. So when Bingsu scouts the natural, and I think Bishop right-clicked the mineral, shift right-click, did he? No, he didn't shift right-click the mineral earlier. And Bingsu has to react immediately. He won't be able to figure out there's a command center at the net. Dragoons already lost all the shield, but no information about the command center.
And actually, that was critical timing with that SCV going into the main of Bingsu, because Bingsu wasn't paying attention to his goon. And a lot of players would have just ran by that bunker to check to see if there's a command center. But because he lost all of his shields, he can't do that anymore. So instead, he's just going to blindly go 3-gate Observer. And I think this is pretty much the best possible follow-up he could have gone for. If he had done anything else, I think he would just instantly die. And that is so many Marines.
Something just came into my mind was Bingsu and I are in the same school, like Harvard, and Bingsu asked me to do the main base, a 1 base 2-fact with a 3-tank pressure, and I did it to him. And he's literally doing the same style right now after the building robotic facility and a triple gateway. So I hope he micros really well and take down lots of Marine, but has to be very careful. If he loses all these Dragoon, this is gonna hurt him a lot. And he's also building the observatory at the natural. The rush distance is really short.
Yeah, I don't know about this observatory being built there. I mean, it's an expensive building in the early game. He's done a good job to... Oh, what's this? He blocks it with an eBay, and now that means these goons have to fight. He doesn't realize, so he's trying to just get back to his main. Okay, now he realizes... I mean, the micro's incredible. He's eliminated all of the Marines without losing a single goon. That's fantastic.
I mean, all the Marines are gone. One last gun, second gun has gone down, but these 3 tanks are trying to do some job. eBay, I'm not sure whether that was cancelled, but oh my god, 2 tanks remaining. I think Bingsu might gonna stop this pressure really well because of the shield battery, and the observatory is still up, having that nice city, and not having that 3rd tank. This has just hurt him so much, because the more time it's given for to Bingsu will have more gun. There are 6 guns will be standing. He can literally one-shot every single vulture whenever he wants. Vulture's trying to do some buying some time to... Oh.
Yeah, this was actually perfect defense from Bingsu. I was so worried for him right there. I think if Bishop had have gotten siege mode, could have been in big time trouble for Bingsu, but as played, he's gonna kill all of the tanks, and all he really did lose was maybe 4 goons. Behind this, Bishop's gonna transition into a command center, but all of you Terran players out there, when you do an opening like this and don't get any probe kills, lose all your tanks, it's almost impossible to win unless there's something like a drop where you can kind of even up the econ. This is going to be so hard for Bishop to come back from.
This is just one of the game that Bingsu and I was doing the practice game, and he's showing like the textbook playstyle after defending the 3 tank pressure with 3 gate ob. He goes for the Reaver build. I mean, he can literally do anything, whatever he wants. Like after the Reaver build, he can go for an Arbiter, he can go for the Carrier, whatsoever. But just by looking at how fast the second gas is for Bingsu, maybe he might gonna go for Speed Shuttle into something.
Yeah, he might. And as you stated, he can literally do anything. It could be Arbor, it could be Carrier, it could be third base. I personally think you gotta go third base, just heavy gate. Make sure there's nothing like this that can possibly happen where there's a Vulture backstab or drop. And he's gonna put on some pressure, light pressure with these goons. And Zealot Bomb, there's no turret at all. If he can drag the mine into the tanks, this may just be game over. And he's trying! What? There's 2 of them right there, so they don't trigger.
Yeah, those spider mines were stacked, and now Reaver is gonna be throwing the Scarabs, picking up one of the siege tank. eBay, I guess eBay is not up yet. He doesn't have any missiles right, in my opinion.
No, I think that's the eBay at the natural right there, just to create the wall. Now the Reaver is still alive. I'm sure there's another Zealot in there too, and this is gonna be so hard to defend. Vultures move out, but he needs defense to stop this Reaver. Oh, actually, that was a really good shot from the tanks and the Vultures to knock down that Reaver to pretty low health. Reaver shots are connecting. He's knocked down maybe 3 or 4. Okay, make that 5 or 6 SCVs so far. Really nicely done from Bingsu, and you can see supplies reflecting it. He's up 40 already.
Wow, those that Reaver just did so much of damage, and now Bingsu is just feeling comfortable that he can take the 3rd expansion. Vultures are still running around left and right, but they're not actually earning anything. Maybe he might be able to pick up 1 or 2 probe, but he just has to do more damage than he really needs, because look at the supply, 93 versus 57. This is just disaster.
Yeah, he just has, like, people watching out there wondering why is he sending out these Vultures. I mean, he has to do something. This is not a game where you can sit there and camp, because if you do, we're going to have that 12-minute max Protoss with the Arbiter or whatever, just pure Gateway Man. You're just going to get run over. So he has to do something with the Vultures. Right now, they're not working. He's going to try and macro out of it, but this is just so difficult. And unbeknownst to Bishop there, do you see his gas in his main? He only has 2 workers on gas.
Yeah, look at how he's all. This is one of the typical SimCity that how Bingsu always does. He always put 3 pylon in a vertical line, and then he fits all those gateway on the left and right at the same time. So that's a typical Bingsu's building organization. And yeah, the Speed Shuttle is done. I guess he can also take the middle expansion, the island.
Yeah, he could take the island. Something to note here, just a very subtle thing, is Bishop was oversaturated in his NAT with SCVs, so he's actually got his command center rallied to his main. So all SCVs built there are gonna resaturate the main. Good connections there, takes down a single take and damages another one. And it's, as a Terran, you just, when you see this, you pretty much feel helpless, because unless there's just an amazing engagement for you, it's just almost impossible to come back. And I just don't think he's going to have that engagement, because Bingsu's going into Gateway Man with 2-1. In my experience, 2-1 versus 2-1, Protoss's 2-1 is really damn strong. So Bishop is between a rock and a hard place here.
Yeah, I wonder what the plan is for Bishop. He is building something. Okay, that's a starport, so he's not gonna be going out with the +1 5-pack, 6-pack whatsoever. But there are 2 Speed Shuttle, I believe. Yeah, I think it has to be the double speed shuttle. I'm pretty sure he'll be shoving in double shuttle when Bishop ever tends to move out.
Yeah, now double shuttle or triple shuttle or basically just mini S style, of course it can deal a lot of damage with harassment. However, I have seen games where mini just goes too hard on the shuttle. So I think this has got to be the best possible style that Bishop could pray for, really, because if he can camp, force Gateway Man, force shuttles, and the shuttles somehow do no damage, he could crawl back into this game. I mean, he's still down 50 supply, but 150 supply to 100, I mean, it's playable. It's not like it's 90 versus 50 like it was a minute ago, so good recovery so far from Bishop.
Yeah, look at that gateway placement. He has total 12 gateway. He has 12 gateway at the main base, and I think he just loaded up those 4 Zealot in that shuttle, so whenever he feels comfortable to move out with those reinforcements, he's probably gonna be shoving in those double shuttle in the main base, so Bishop's unit AI is gonna be start messing up at the same time when he's moving out. So yeah, I think that's what he's aiming for.
That is exactly the case. You see those shuttles are in position, and it's just going to be so hard to even just get outside of his base. Like, I know that's not a lot of goons, but he's going to have to slow push out anyways. Oh, connection right there with the mines, but still a 60 supply lead. And those shuttles, they are waiting for their moment. You can see they're moving in and out of position.
Yeah, lots of units. Yeah, there is the double shuttle, like how I was mentioning. Double shuttle will be sneaking in. Is there spider mines are prepared? Yes, they are. Okay, one river will disappear. Good defense.
This is kind of what I'm talking about, is shuttles, they can deal a lot of damage, but that was, what, 20 supply or so down the drain for free. Of course, Bingsu still in a phenomenal position, but this can be one of the ways where Taran slowly crawls back if he can get Tank Man going. And this was what I was waiting to see, is how is Bishop going to expand? I think he has to expand to the right side. And that's what he's doing. Here comes Shuttle Drop on top of the tanks with Goons and Zealots reinforcing. The Shuttle Bomb did not do much. And Great Sim City right here bottlenecking a lot of the units. Templar Storm is decent.
Yeah, those leftover remaining Zealots will be surrounding those siege tank. Vultures are trying to defend those siege tank, but lots of siege tank has gone down. Leftover is pure gun versus those leftover siege tank. This is definitely a favor towards the Bingsu, because he doesn't Taran, if you're playing Taran, you always must have machine shop to make a siege tank. And in this type of 2-base playstyle, how Bishop is playing, he cannot have that much of siege tank at this moment.
Yeah, and resetting the tanks is huge. I think if Bishop had maybe 20 supply more, he may have been able to efficiently hold that attack, because the initial attack was not going that well with the floated racks, with the command center, with the failed drop. Oh, the drop ship gets picked off, and that is painful.
It's still +1 attack at the 15 minute 30 seconds mark. Bingsu is gonna be transitioning into Arbiter. That's what he exactly needs. He has done the shuttle bomb drop, didn't work out so well, but he cannot just keep playing speed shuttle, high Templar storm drop all the time, because if more time is given and maybe somehow Bishop starts to take some opportunity and win the trade somehow, he will be having 3-2 late game, but I feel like this is still no future. Okay, there's a +2 just now, finished at 60 minutes.
Yeah, but it's just too much Protoss. It's doubling supply. Shuttle Bomb, this time getting on top of all the... Well, maybe not. Okay, now the units unload. But you can see that the tank count and the Vulture count, it just isn't there. It's just simply too much Protoss. 2-1 is very, very strong from Protoss versus Taran. And he barges through the choke, getting into the natural now. Bingsu still 160 supply versus just 60. And unfortunately, Bishop's run in the ASL is over, and Bingsu is going to be moving on to face action.
Yep. Bishop strategy-wise with the three siege tank pressure was definitely great with the eBay block, but I wonder if the result would have been different if he has gotten the Siege mode upgrade instead of the Vulture speed. Definitely he needs the Spider Mine, but not the Vulture speed.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. But at the same time, I mean, you're just building vultures nonstop, right? So it's I don't think I've ever seen a Terran player skip speed for siege mode. But yeah, if he had it, would have been amazing. And if he had kept that SCV alive and could build a bunker, I think the game would have just ended because there was no way for Bingsu to engage on top of it. You can see Bishop heartbroken there because he felt like he had a good position, but amazing defense from Bingsu. So this is going to set up Bingsu versus Action. We saw this already, right? So there's going to be a rematch, and maybe he can take him down this time.
Yeah, and also Bingsu saw how Rain was playing his action, like how he was showing the mid game and late game transition should be. So maybe Bingsu might have learned something in this PvZ matchup for the final match. But I guess we'll be going for the commercial break soon. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. Bishop seems really upset with his gameplay. Very sad from his player cam.
Final match of the day. It's going to be a rematch from earlier. Action versus Bingsu. This time around, it's going to be Vermeer.
Vermeer.
Did we see any games on here? I think we saw one, right? I can't even remember.
Beast versus Shuttle. He
that's
was
right.
making the 4th cannon and then he canceled it. But the 3 lurkers with the mass zergling was coming, but he was trying to add all those additional cannon at the last second, but somehow survived.
Yes, I do remember now. This map seems hard for Protoss versus Zerg. I saw a couple games on here. The third base seems, my opinion, quite far away. Like I think I was watching YSC versus was it?
Huro versus.
I can't remember. It was not somebody you usually see like Sulky or Larva. But anyways, Zerg.
Gamo?
It was like an amateur player that you don't really see in Pro League at all. I can't remember exactly, but the map seemed really open and really tough, and YSC ended up losing that match. I don't know what your thoughts are on Vermeer.
Vermeer, well, we are Taran. Vermeer is a well-made map out.
Well-made, okay.
Yeah, well-made map for Taran because it's much easier to take your 3rd expansion compared to Largo. Remember, I don't know if you are playing on Largo, but Largo, the mineral expansion is low ground and an opponent can attack you from the high ground. It's much easier anyways. And you can also build lots of missile turret as well. Unlikely compared to Eclipse. But players are ready. We're moving into game number 5. This is the last game of the final match. Action versus Bingsu on Vermeer.
Right, so in the top left are Zerg, in the red. It is Action. Then in the top right, nice victory versus Bishop. It is Bingsu. So far we saw 9 pool back-to-back from Action. I wonder if he's going to keep going for that or if he has something special planned on Vermeer. And yeah, like, look at that third base. I mean, it's... Now that I'm looking at it, like, top right doesn't seem that far. And it also has, like, a double entranceway, right?
Yeah.
But it just, from the games that I watched, it just felt like, for example, the game I did see, top left versus top right, like, the Protoss player YSC ended up trying to take mid left, and it just felt like that was basically impossible because of how far away it was.
Well, for Taran, for us, it doesn't really matter because our siege tank can shoot really, really far, and we just need lots of spider mines. But yeah, it's a different feeling if you're playing different race like Zerg or Protoss. But yeah, I think this is an okay spawning location for Bingsu because he doesn't have to take his expansion towards the 12 o'clock.
Yep, and we do see that this time around, Action not going for that 9 pool. This looks like we're going to have an 11 hatch or 12 hatch. Meanwhile, Bingsu going to go for, I assume this has to be a forge. There's no way he's going to blind 12 Nexus. Okay, there it is.
There is a forge going up, and I wonder whether he's going to be doing the cannon rush as soon as he realized this is the 12 hatchery opening. Action is sending out the drone at the same time. Whether he's going to be sending... Okay, he just... his screen just went down to the bottom left side, so the drone will be going all the way to the bottom left, but at the same time, Pro will be going in. Is he going to go for cannon rush?
Oh,
the answer is yes.
Could, right? I guess you can cannon rush this map. Gonna pylon block there.
Maybe he's trying to bait.
Okay, yeah, it looks like he is just trying to bait, but Action not going to fall for the bait there, and instead, Bingsu is just going to build a Nexus behind it, and luckily Action scouted first, so he sees that this is just going to be the Nexus follow-up.
Yeah, both players know what exactly they're doing. Action is not even planning to make Zerging at all. He's just morphing lots of drone. Already putting down the extractor at 2 minutes 35 seconds before the 3 hatchery. So if you are a Protoss player, listen carefully about this. If Zerg ever goes for the extractor this fast before this third expansion, you have to be careful with the Zergling all in.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eyes locked on Action's build to see if he does go for the Lings.
Or it can be the Hydrogen.
Yeah, he could. I mean, Zerg can do anything, right? And
Right, yeah.
From all the games that I've seen, generally, my opinion from what I've seen, is 235 tends to just be standard, unless the probe dies, of course. So we'll see what Action wants to do with this. He's banking up that gas. Probe still alive. I expect the lair to start right now. Okay, not just yet. Is he trying to hide something?
I think he's hiding something. Maybe he's just hesitating whether he wants to go for the lair attack or whatnot. Oh, okay, it's a Zergling speed into Hydrogen at the same time.
Okay, well, this will be interesting. So, again, we're going to have another aggressive opener, but he's got to be careful to not let that probe in. Every time I see just 2 Lings out on the map, I'm like, dude, you are playing with fire. You better get that on the ramp, because if it gets in, all of a sudden your build order or your strategy is down the drain. Now, a Zealot did move out, but the Overlord saw it, so he's going to try and take down some of these Lings. Oh, maybe not. He's just backing off.
Yeah, he knows that Overlord was watching how much of Zealots are, whether the Zealot is moving out or just staying at home. So, yeah, Bingsu is not going to be wasting his first Zealot. And Action is going to have the metabolic boost soon too. But here's something I would like to mention. This game is it's just really weird. Like whenever the unit is shooting from the top to the bottom, it shoots actually longer. And if you're defending from like a horizontal way, but okay, the Zergling speed.
He moved out of position. Okay. Thankfully, he's got a probe there. And for now, he hasn't shown any overwhelming amount of Lings. I think the purpose of this delayed Ling speed was, if he shows it too fast, then, of course, Protoss is going to know, like, well, hey, you delayed your lair. But the fact that he just floated a bit of gas, this does look like it's just a typical lair opener. And this may just completely catch Bingsu off guard. There's only 2 cannons, 4 Zealots. And I think he's just going to a straight normal play. Yeah, Stargate.
Yeah, Bingsu has no idea what Action is doing, and Hydralists are coming. Speed upgrade is done, so now he should be getting the range upgrade. Bingsu doesn't know yet until the Corsair is out. I guess Action will be the one attacking first. But will 2 cannon be enough to... Oh my god, that 1 cannon will fall immediately.
Yep, instantly falls, and the Lings and the Hydras are going to clean up the Zealots, and this might just be lights out. 1 cannon cannot beat this amount of Hydras. They focus down the probes that were pulled, and Bingsu is moments away from being eliminated from ASL, and it looks like that's going to happen because there's absolutely no defense. What a great mind game from Action here, and he's looking like he's just going to move on.
Yeah, we can see from Action's player cam and Bingsu's player cam. We cannot really see his face, but I can tell he's somewhat obsessed that he just died to mass Hydralist bust, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. It's always disappointing to lose in such a simple way, but really it wasn't that simple. You have to think about the gas that he floated to make it look like lair, and it completely caught Bingsu off guard. So nicely done from Action. He does redeem himself from last season. He played very well today, even though he lost to Rain. He looked like he was going to go into the mid game and the late game in a fantastic position. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the round of 16.
I think Bingsu should have had that probe scouting at the main base. Maybe the mistake that he has done would be like going outside of his main base. If he was keep spinning or rotating his scouting probe at the main base, he was able to figure out whether this is going to be the lair attack or maybe lair attack at the natural. But anyways, we'll be moving into this interview. The second player who will be advancing into round of 16 in this ASL Season 13 Group C, that will be Action. Congratulations. And you are the first Zerg who will be advancing into round of 16 in this round of 24 group stage. How do you feel? And before we play the match during the interview, Action said he will be easily make it into round of 16. But after he started to play this game on a stage game, he started to feel somewhat uncomfortable because of the maps. Maps were not favored towards the Zerg, so he felt somewhat uncomfortable there.
네.
What decided you to do the Zergling all in? Or Hydraless all in? And
그래도 김성대 선수의
Oh,
이 노련함답게 또
so I guess that was a conversation about the winner's match against Rain. He decided to go for a lot of Zergling production, and he was also getting the Zergling speed, but things were not. His plan did not work out so well while he was doing the 4 Zergling harassment at the main base. He was deciding whether he should.
올인했으면 죽었을 것 같은데 제가 너무 운영을 한 것 같아서 그냥 대충 해야겠다 했더니 경기가 좀 잘 된 것 같아요.
손이 가는 대로 플레이를 하셨는데 이렇게 좋은 결과가 김성대 선수에게 주어졌습니다. 자, 새 시즌 만에 16강
He was thinking whether he should be playing somewhat aggression into macro game or maybe just go for pure all-in. But since he has learned a lesson from winner's match against Rain, that he wanted to go for the Zergling all-in, but things didn't work out so well. Because he after all those larvae that he spent for the Zergling production into a macro switch didn't work out so well, so he learned a lesson from there, and in this decider match, on the final match, he realized that he has to go for pure aggression non-stop once he decided to do it with his plan, and things are just worked out so well for him. We know lots of Protoss are there in round of 16. We're excited. We're gonna be excited to see you play in the round of 16 on a group nomination as well. Lots of Protoss are waiting for you. Any last word to your fans? And Action is saying about his feeling that whenever he plays on an easy group, he dies, but whenever he plays on a hard group, he makes it into round of 16. So he wants to perform better next time, and also the future tournament as well. And thank you for rooting me. Thank you for the interview.
So congratulations to Action, and here's the rundown of today. Rain takes out Bishop, Action takes out Bingsu. Rain takes out Action, and then Bingsu eliminates Bishop, and then of course Action takes out Bingsu again. So we've got 4 Protoss players, 1 Taran, and 1 Zerg, but as I stated, a couple of the Zerg All-Stars are coming up in Group D, E, and F. We've got Soma, Sulky, and Jaedong. So you Zerg players out there, you still got 3 superstars in the mix. And it looks like so far 5 are qualified because, of course, we haven't considered the 4 players that were already in the round of 16. So pretty star-studded people that have qualified so far. I mean, I don't know if you could get better Protoss players. Like, all of the Protoss players, all of the best Protoss players are already in.
What if we see only 2 Terran in round of 16?
Well,
it's still possible. Who are the leftover Terran players still that hasn't played on a round of 24?
Royal, JYJ, Sak, and Mong, and obviously Royal's the best one out of them all, and they don't have easy groups. So yeah, there is a chance where we only have like 2 or 3 making it in.
Yeah, Royal still have a great chance to make it into round of 16. Group E, I'm not sure. Ruin is an upcoming player who is playing really, really well nowadays, and we also have seen on ASTL that Ruin beat 3 players in the winners round, and yeah, Ruin is playing really, really well. But at the same time, here's something that we have to know: Ruin is playing against Soma, who is definitely a strong Zerg. I wonder how he's going to be performing in that day.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Ruin, of course, going up against Soma. Actually, I'm more curious in the JYJ versus Sok matchup because I like JYJ more than Sok. However, there have been TVTs that I watch of Sok from the opponent's point of view, And I'm like, damn, who the hell is this guy playing? Because this Taran's playing like actually perfect TVT. And it ends up being Sock like every time I see it. So there's a chance that, you know, JYJ gets knocked down. And then we have something like a Sock versus Soma finals. And I think Ruin and Soma have a better chance versus Sock than they do versus JYJ. That's my personal opinion. And I think really potentially Double Taran could be eliminated there. But what about Group F? I mean, this is two Zerg superstars. You think Mong or Movie could eliminate one of them?
Well, I haven't seen Mong's gameplay for a long time, but I know Mong is actually beast. Like, he's always plays so well in the group stage. I think he made it in the round of 16 with 2 wins beating Mini, I believe, with the bio tank pressure on season 11, I believe.
Yeah.
And Mong is definitely also a strong player, and I wonder how well JD is going to be played.
Yeah, of course, everybody wants to see JD now that he's back from the army. He looks pretty darn good. Sometimes I think he gets a little bit too aggressive, but he does have a ZVZ in there potentially versus Sulky, and of course Jaedong, an expert in aggressive games in particular, and particularly in ZVZ. So I think he's got a good shot to make it out of his group, not just in general, but also in first place. We didn't even talk about Group D. Let me see. That has Snow in there and Royal.
Yeah, Snow, Royal, Gamo, and one more Protoss. Gumchi.
Yeah.
Gumchi and Snow are in Hawkbird as well. They're in the same school, same coaches. So they're probably going to be having some the atmosphere like going on those two players, like, yeah, I have to advance. No, I'm the one going to be advancing into round of 16. They will be fighting each other for that. And Royal, I don't know. You know, whenever Taran is in a group with 2 different products, it always feels uncomfortable. But when I look at Royal, I don't feel like he's just going to get knocked out super easily.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Royal, he's upped his game quite a bit. However, I do have to say that Snow and Gimchi, I think, have different styles, right? Like, Snow is carrier man, whereas Gimchi, I don't think he's necessarily a carrier guy. Like, whenever I watch him, or used to watch him, he was playing like 2-base Arbiter or more Arbiter-based plays. So that does make it a little interesting for Royal. He's going to have to prepare for everything that the Protoss has and could throw at him. What about Gamo? Do you think he's got a shot?
Gamo, I haven't seen him playing, but well, I guess he might have some like great shot if he has done some sort of like all-in. But here's the rappers has done the wrapping up this thing.
Yep, that's going to be it for Group C today, guys. We are done for this week. We'll be back next week, same dates, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And we'll see if Protoss can continue the trend and push even more Protoss into the round of 16, or if Zerg and Taran can mount a comeback. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.